Hi, welcome to my channel. My name is Kristen. So for today's video, I'm going to be talking all about The Do-Over by Lynn Painter. So I recently read this book. It was on my February TBR, and it's a book that I actually got to for once from my TBR. So I wanted to read it for Valentine's Day because this book does take place on Valentine's Day. By the time this video goes up, it's going to be after Valentine's Day, but it is a book that I think you could read at any point of the year. This one is a young adult rom-com, and like I said, it's by Lynn Painter, who is also the author of Better Than the Movies. So I also have a video all about that book and my review on it, so that's up on my channel. I did that back in September of last year, and after reading that book I loved it, so I was really excited to read more by Lynn Painter. And this book actually came out in November, I'm pretty sure, and so I had been saving it to read it around Valentine's Day, and I just read it the other day. I read it all like within a day. I listened to the audiobook and I really enjoyed it, so I decided to do a video talking all about it, just sharing what it's about and just giving all of my thoughts on it. And this is going to be completely spoiler free, so I won't be giving any spoilers at all throughout this video. So starting with the synopsis of this book, like I said, it is a young adult rom-com, so it follows this girl named Emily, and so she's a junior in high school, and so it's Valentine's Day, and she is pretty much someone who has her whole life together. She is a huge planner, she makes to-do lists, she's just very organized, and she wants things to go exactly as she planned. And so because it's Valentine's Day, she has all of these plans. She's about to have this perfect day with her boyfriend that she's been dating for 3 months, and so she wakes up on Valentine's Day and she heads to school, and then throughout the day all of these bad things keep happening to her and they just keep adding on and making the day even worse. And then to top it all off, after all these horrible things happen to her, she catches her boyfriend cheating on her. So she's obviously upset about everything, so she leaves school that day and she ends up going to her grandmother's house. She ends up spending the night there, and then the next day she wakes up and she is in her bedroom again, and it's February 14th all over again. So this book is a time loop story. Basically she just keeps reliving the same day over and over again and trying to figure out what to do differently to make it stop. And through each of those days she keeps running into one of her classmates. His name is Nick, and he kind of slowly starts to become more and more a part of her life and her days as she relives them. And so that's kind of the main summary of this book. Like I said, it basically follows Emily and Nick, and it's kind of their romance. And so this book is kind of your very typical like cliche time loop story. I feel like the time loop story is something that has obviously been done a lot, and it's kind of exactly what you would expect out of a time loop story. It starts off with her being confused about why she's reliving the same day, and then she starts to get frustrated about it, and then she decides to take advantage of it and just do whatever she wants because there's no consequences. And so I feel like you see that a lot in any time loop story, and so that's basically kind of the same path that this story follows. And it is a little bit like insta-lovey, I would say, but I do feel like their connection was believable and I wasn't really bothered by the insta-love aspect of it. So going into some more of my thoughts, like I said earlier, I did really enjoy this book. I thought it was so cute. It was pretty much exactly what I wanted to read at the time. I was just in the mood for like a sweet rom-com type story, and this one just fit perfectly for that. And it was funny too, which I really liked. It definitely had me smiling at so many moments throughout the entire book, and the story definitely pulled me in right away. I was wanting to continue reading it. Like I said, I was listening to the audiobook, so I was able to finish it all within a day. And it's also a really short book. It's like less than 300 pages. So yeah, it was an enjoyable book. Like I wanted to continue it. I didn't like listen to it all in one sitting, but when I would like take breaks from the audiobook, like I wanted to go back to it, you know? And I also really liked the audiobook. I would recommend it if you do want to listen to this one because I did like the narration in it. I also think that the characters were likable. I really liked Emily. I thought she was a good character. I feel like she was a very relatable character. Like just thinking back on my younger self, I definitely could relate to Emily in some ways. And then with Nick, he definitely was a really sweet character. I really liked him a lot. Apparently he gives off Jess Mariano vibes from Gilmore Girls. I've never seen Gilmore Girls, but if you're a fan, that's something that's a part of this book, I guess. And then I also liked the side characters, Emily's friends specifically. I just feel like it was nice to see that she had these supportive friends. I don't feel like we got like too much of them, but you could tell that she had like good friendships with her best friends. I do wish that there had been a little bit more to this story, like just gone a little bit deeper with some of the characters and some of the things that happened, and also just some of the like the side storylines that were going on. Like I said, this book is super short. Like I felt like it went by really quickly, and I definitely feel like it could have been a little bit longer because it was less than 300 pages, and I do think that there could have been more to it, but at the same time I do think it was a good story and I do think that you get a lot from it. I just think that Lynn Painter does a really good job at writing YA rom-coms. I mean, I've only read 2 so far that she's written. I haven't read her adult rom-coms yet, so I don't know how those are. I've heard that her YA books are better than her adult ones though, so I'm not too sure since I haven't gotten into them yet, but I do think she does a really great job at writing these YA stories, and I just think her books are just so cute and like fun to read. Like I wish I had these books when I was younger, like when I was this age. Like I said earlier, I could kind of relate to Emily, especially like my younger self, and so I can kind of relate to her characters in some ways, but at the same time I am like past that age of being in high school and dealing with some of the things that they're dealing with at their age. I'm just not really much of a YA reader anymore. I still like YA books and I'll still read them and everything, but I just feel like when I read them I don't get as much out of them as I would have like when I was younger. Like when I was in middle school and high school, I definitely read YA books and I really loved them, and so at this point I still enjoy them, but I feel like I don't appreciate them as much as I did like when I was younger and when I could probably like connect to these books a little bit more. But I know that if I had these books when I was a teenager, I probably would have obsessed over them even more. So as of now, I've only read 2 Lynn Painter books so far, but I do really love her as an author. I want to read more by her. I love that you can tell that she's a Swiftie. She has so many Taylor Swift references throughout her books, and in this one specifically, she puts like actual lyrics in there, like just kind of like thrown in there, where like if you're a Taylor Swift fan, you'll obviously recognize them and know that they're Taylor Swift lyrics, but if you're not, like they're just kind of regular lines in the book. So I just really liked that those are kind of just like casually thrown in there. So comparing this book to Better Than the Movies, because that's the only other book I've read by Lynn Painter, and I feel like they kind of are similar. I think if you liked Better Than the Movies, you would probably like this one too, but comparing them, I do think that Better Than the Movies did feel like a more complete story, and like the ending felt more complete. I'm pretty sure Better Than the Movies had an epilogue, I think, and this one didn't. I wish it would have, because I feel like it would have added a little bit more to the story and just made it feel like a little bit more complete. And so overall I did enjoy Better Than the Movies more than this book. Like I just think it was a better book overall, but I do think that I connected to the Do-Over more. Both of these books do kind of have some more serious topics in there. The characters have things that have happened in their past, kind of some sad things that have happened, and so both of them did kind of like, you know, have those emotional parts of the story, but I do think I connected more with the Do-Over overall. And so my final thoughts on this book, I thought it was absolutely adorable. I really loved this book a lot. I would highly recommend it for just like a fun, sweet Valentine's read. Obviously this is going up after Valentine's Day, so like I said earlier, you can pretty much read this at any time. It's just a really cute rom-com. Definitely check trigger warnings though. It's not super lighthearted the entire time. Like I said, her books do kind of have some other more serious topics in there. I don't feel like it goes like too in-depth in it, but they do kind of bring up some more serious topics, so just keep that in mind with this book. But yeah, this book I almost rated it 5 stars. Like I almost wanted to, but I rated it 4.5, I think for the same reason that I also rated Better Than the Movies 4.5, and I think that's just because, like I said earlier, I wish there could have been a little bit more to the story, but even then I still really loved it and thought it was a really cute, enjoyable book. So yeah, those are pretty much all of my thoughts on The Do-Over by Lynn Painter. Definitely let me know any of your thoughts if you've read this book or if you're planning to. But yeah, that's pretty much it for this video. If you liked this and you're new to my channel, I would love it if you would subscribe, and thank you so much for watching.